All right, we now turn to Mrs. Rebeca Grynspan, Secretary General, Ibero-American General Secretary. Mrs. Grynspan is the Deputy Secretary General, the Deputy General Secretary of the United Nations Associate of Administration of the United Nations Development Program. Is Mr. Grynspan online already? Hello, it's so good to see you.
So good to see you, Tal. Thank you so much.
And
תודה רבה.
we are very happy. We are running an international event here, and it's good to see that we can connect to people from all around the world at different times of the day. Mrs. Grynspan, you are an economist, and you are into a very crucial and dire time everywhere around the world, but we want to talk to you about the Latin America area and about the immediate and future consequences of on the Ibero-American countries that have been suffering badly from COVID-19. So let's hear from you with respect to international development and cooperation in your region.
Thank you so much, Tal. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you. And Hanukkah Sameach lekulam.
Thank you.
Let me first explain what is the Ibero-American Secretariat, because probably many of you don't know. But we gather 22 countries, all the countries that speak Spanish and Portuguese from Latin America and Europe. And in Europe, so is the 19 Latin American and Caribbean countries and 3 European countries, that is Spain, Portugal, and Andorra. And so the question that you are asking me, Tali, is very, very important, because Latin America has been disproportionately hit by COVID-19. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about why, but the one number is very telling, that Latin America right now, from every 3 deaths in the world, 1 is Latin America.
Wow.
1 is from Latin America. Mm-hmm. But we are only 8% of the world population. Mm-hmm. So we are 4 times hit in terms of the COVID-19 with respect to our proportional contribution to the world. And this is why, because in a way, COVID-19 interacts with our structural deficits of the past. So in the same way, COVID-19 interacts with your bodies because of your health preconditions, it happens the same in the social and economic sphere, that COVID-19 interacts with our problems that were not solved before. So we say, in a way of analogy, that we had diabetes from informality in our labor markets. We had asthma from our problems of inequality and poverty, that we had low productivity and low social security for our people. So in a way, that the impact of COVID-19 has made it worse and amplified the impact of COVID-19 in our population. And so just to give you a picture, in the 1st of January 2021, every Latin American will wake up having an economy that is 8 or 9% smaller than it was before. Mm-hmm. Our GDP per capita will be the same as we had in 2010. So we are going back 10 years. Yeah. Our poverty will be equal to the one we had in 2005, 15 years back. And our extreme poverty data tells us that we will be with the numbers that Latin America had in 1990, 30 years of retrocess in terms of our extreme poverty numbers. So that is the reality that we will face the 1st of January 2021, and is a very hard reality to face, and the challenges connected to those are not only socioeconomic, but also political for the countries.
So in order to put the economy back in your region, you have to be vaccinated, I suppose, and also you have to use civil society and governmental agencies in order to have the vaccine flowing and also some assistance, some financial assistance. Where do you stand right now with the vaccinations? Are you getting, I mean, we saw the United States and Britain starting with the process. I can tell you here in Israel it's going to start next week. Where do you stand right now? Are you getting assistance on that front?
Well, the first thing to say is at the global level, the vaccines are going in its majority in the first round to the developed world, not to the developing world. And that's a reality. So many of the countries of Latin America has already made the arrangements to start vaccination very soon. And there is a range of vaccines. So we have, we are waiting a lot for the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine, because there is an agreement between Mexico and Argentina with AstraZeneca and private laboratories to produce the vaccine in Latin America. That will be very important because it's also a cheap vaccine and easier to handle. So that will be a very important step forward. The countries have made different arrangements with respect to Pfizer, to Moderna, to the Chinese vaccine, etc. But the problem is how quickly we can get the vaccines to really vaccinate our people. And probably there will be delays in terms of what the developed world will be able to do. We are very hopeful that the international community, through the multilateral system, the World Health Organization, with respect in the group of COVAX, will be able to make the vaccines available quickly to the developing world. But we know right now that it will be in a slower pace than the developed world.
So what is the role of your organization, I mean, in helping, assisting with money and with the platform to help get the vaccinated distributed, and also with the financial help for businesses in those countries?
Okay, two things with respect to that. One is that one of the things that my organization has been doing very strongly is to put together all the medical authorities that are the ones that will have to evaluate and give the go ahead for the vaccines to be able to start in our country. So we were able to put very quickly a network of all the authorities that will have to agree and that do regulate and norm and give the norms for the vaccines to be accepted in our countries, and for that to happen very quickly. Because if not, then vaccination cannot start. And every country has its own rules, but we try to converge the rules so all the normative framework for the vaccination to start takes place. And also all the distribution problems in terms of customs and availability within the countries. So that is a very important point. But the second point, I want to stress that Latin America, like many developing countries, will not be able to get out of this crisis without the help of the international community. Right. And right now, we know that the measures that were taken at the international financial system in 2008 were quicker and stronger than the ones we are seeing in this crisis. And this is true with respect to the capitalization and capital endowment of the development banks. We need to strengthen the development banks of the region, but also in terms of the special drawing rights in the IMF that were enabled in a new emission in 2008, and that has not happened. Has not happened
So you say
during
it has
this
to be.
crisis.
You say it has to be stronger and faster than it is right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. According to the UN, you need $2.5 trillion in cooperation and financial assistance for the world. And right now, the IMF has less than one. So a new emission of special drawing rights is fundamental for the developing world right now to have access to flexible and money to be able to face the very constrained fiscal space that most of our countries have.
And it's probably in the interest of the entire international community, because it's a shared interest, because people will be traveling from your region to the United States, and they will bring on, the disease if it will not be taken care of. So it has to be done.
But also in terms of development, we will have to make very important investments. And most of our countries don't have the fiscal space to do it with our own resources. It's not the same to be in Europe and to have the European Development Bank. It's not the same to be in the US and have the Federal Reserve that has had an emission of $2 trillion only for the United States. Yes. Okay. So our countries in the development world will need different instruments, and we need the international community to really step forward.
Okay, we only have a very little time left. One last question. What about the development relationship with Israel? Do you have anything that is, that are you using? Are you using Israeli technology or Israeli resource in a way?
Well, I think that Israel can play a very important role in Latin America, because what we need is to change our development paradigm, and we need science and technology. That's what we need. We need knowledge. We need much more interchange in terms of the universities, the scientific community, and Israel can play a very strong role also in terms of our startups. Okay. We need innovation, and Israel can be a very important model for that.
So, Mrs. Grynspan, thank you so much for your morning, our afternoon here, and it was a pleasure talking to you, and good luck with the vaccination and everything. Thank you
so much, Sal.
Thank you.
A pleasure to be here. Toda rabah.